Don't panic. Please don't panic. If you have read the Wizzy S chapters and you've seen some of the differences in Trim Healthy Wisdom S meals versus your foundational THM S meals, don't be afraid. We're going to get through this together. I've been eating these meals. My clients have been eating these meals. We're all satisfied. We're all enjoying them. And if you get to the point where you feel like those, you're going to go nuts or you're going to just go off plan if you don't have a foundational S meal, do it. It's okay. They tell us exactly how in Trim Healthy Wisdom. So follow that protocol. That's what I'm having my clients do and how I'm coaching them through that. But these Wizzy S meals are less dense. And less dense means they are less oily. They don't have as much oil. They're not as heavy for us. So if you recall, there are 3 types of S meals on THM. We have our heavy S meals, we have our deep S meals, and we have our light S meals. So they each have a place in foundational THM. The heavy S meals are like the heavy, high in calorie. We don't count calories on THM. Please don't start doing that. They're things like, your baked goods, your desserts, your cream cheese shakes, your, dark meats with cheese and sour cream and all of that. Those are the heavy S parts of THM. Then we had our light S, which was maybe our, light sprinkle of cheese or nuts. And that's more where we're going to be living in the wisdom way. And then we have our deep S meals. And our deep S meals were pure healthy fats only. Well, it used to be on THM that when we would have the deep S, that was kind of like the pinnacle of healthy, we thought. And for foundational THM, that still works for a whole heck of a lot of people. But we would do the heavy S, we would do the deep S and feel pretty good about it, but we'd still be pouring on a lot of oils and fats. That's not necessarily beneficial if you are in a season of the S word, if you're feeling stuck or stalled. And it may not be beneficial if you're feeling like you just need to lighten things up. So remember, we're focused on our food density in the Trim Healthy Wisdom method. We are trying to lighten up our meals quite a bit. And when you're pouring on the oil and the fat, even if it's healthier fat, you're not really lightening up your meals. You're adding a lot more density to them. So you're going to be living in a more light S way with leaner, lighter meat. So a foundational THM meal example might be like, let's say you have a bone, and my hair just got stuck. And here's where I'm going to confess. I had to tape down my pocket corner. Have you ever had those just flap up? I taped it down and then my hair got caught in it. So joke's on me. I should have left it alone. Okay. So a foundational THMS meal might be like let's say you made a taco on a low carb tortilla and you had cheese and sour cream and a cheesecake for dessert. That's a pretty heavy S there. To lighten it up, you might do a ground turkey taco in a bowl with lots of veggies and skip the cheese and sour cream, although you can certainly use 0% Greek yogurt, and skip the heavy dessert at the end. You're going to lighten up your meal. You're going to have a light S instead. You are going to have just tiny amounts of those healthy fats instead of being so liberal with them like we were in the deep S and the heavy S. So with these foundational meals, we had a lot of leeway, and for some people that's still going to work okay. But for those of us who need a wiser approach, we're going to lighten it up. So just a different, their quick guidelines are: remember, your heavy S is all types of fat. There were no limits. Deep S was only pure fats, but no limits on how many of them. And light S is more, so by the purest fats in the deep S, by the way, I mean only naturally occurring fats except for whey protein. That's, not necessarily a naturally occurring one, but it's in there for a shake or something, but you're going to skip the dairy and the nuts in deep S. And light S was more like just a smaller amount of whatever fats you use. So with your Wizzy S, you're having what they call a new level of light. You are looking at what kinds of fats you're putting on your plate. You're lightening up your meats. You're lightening up everything that you have and just using that common dairy or oil in smaller amounts. Okay. So there are in this chapter, and I'd love to know what you all thought about it, there are suggested limits for fats. They're not hard and fast rules. They have details about the limits for nut butter, seeds and nuts, oil, avocado. Your common dairy is going to be just like 2 tablespoons. And it's going to be a little different. And then we're going to switch up our protein sources just a little bit. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. And we are not only lightening those up, but we're just maybe rotating them in differently. So like we wouldn't be having eggs every day. So their protein options are 4 to 6 ounces of turkey, chicken, and fish, and light meat is preferred without the skin. So they're basically saying it's not completely out of bounds if you have some skin on. It's not completely out of bounds to have dark meat sometimes. It's not completely out of bounds to have like a really lean cut of beef or, pork or shrimp. It's not like you can't do those things ever, but I will say, having worked with clients for a few months on this, the women who are truly stuck, who are truly not moving, are getting the results from the leaner, lighter cuts of fish as a whole. Every once in a while, yeah, maybe once a week they get something else in there. But the lean meat is really what's getting the best results right now from what I've seen. Now, there is a 6 to 8 egg limit every week. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. That is an adjustment for some people. Just 2 in a meal, which means that you need to add more protein of a different kind if you're having a meal with eggs, because 2 eggs is not ever enough protein for a meal. You can have organic tofu. You can have pea crumbles. Those are just going to kind of round out your meal. Those aren't a protein source for your meal. You can have up to a 1/4 cup of beans or lentils. A small amount of those add a little bit of protein, so they can help push you up if you're not quite there. You can have protein powder. You can have collagen. You can have essential. Those are all things that will help with your protein, and those are all Wizzy S friendly. You can also, and I've had my clients doing this for a long time, if you're just shy of your protein total, add some nutritional yeast, bone broth powder, defatted peanut flour. Those things are also helpful for just bumping it up a little bit. Okay. So your Wizzy S meat proteins are going to be a little bit smaller and a little bit more moderate. They don't have to be super lean, but you also don't want to have 3 chicken thighs or even rely on chicken thighs for your biggest protein sources. They don't need to be super fatty, and we're not going overboard on the eggs anymore. Okay. So like the e-meals had the low meat option, the moderate meat option, and I had these cheat sheets. I think I showed you guys for my boot camp members. The Wisdom S meals, you don't have to play around with the different types like that, because a lot of them are based on fish or other leaner things. I know some people have told me they don't like fish, and you can definitely get other things in there too. So you just want to stick to leaner cuts of meat when possible with your Wizzy S's. So we also want to kind of downshift whole eggs if you're in the season where you need the wisdom approach, and incorporate them, but don't have all of your meals be egg based. Don't have we have that 6 to 8 egg limit for a reason. If you're getting like a couple of eggs in several breakfasts in a week, that's good. But if you're following the Wizzy Shake Up, you're probably doing your e-breakfast anyway, and you'll be having egg whites, which there isn't an egg white limit that I saw in Trim Healthy Wisdom. So you'll be okay. So they give the example of like your foundational meal might be 3 scrambled eggs with cheese plus some sausage or bacon or buttered vegetables on the side, but that's pretty dense. So to lighten it up, you might have for your Wizzy S 2 whole eggs plus a 1/2 cup of egg whites. And another thing that I do with a lot of my clients is we will take some eggs and scramble them with a good amount of cottage cheese, like a 1/2 cup of cottage cheese, the good kind, Good Culture or Nancy's. It makes them creamy. It makes them it just adds flavor to them. I think they're delicious. So that would be another way to lighten up these Wizzy S breakfasts. And of course, get veggies in wherever you can. Okay, so I know this is a little different because a lot of us are not used to any kind of fat or egg limits on our S meals at all. So this is a little different, but we still want to be plant strong, which we talked about before, right? We still want to have a good variety. We don't want to have only animal fat and animal protein in our meal. We want to mix in some good vegetables and go easy on the butter, even though it's an S meal, or go really easy on the oil, even if it's an S meal. Okay, so I wrote down to tell you guys that on page 420, I think, of the book, that's what I wrote down. I hope that's right. They have a whole list of the proteins for you. If you missed it, is definitely something I would bookmark. So Wizzy S, I want you to get it. Just let it sink in. It's a whole new level of light. Okay, we're using just a few teaspoons of oil instead of like a good glug of oil over veggies or a salad. We're using, good combinations of lighter amounts of fat to help us really lighten up the density of our meals. We still want plants. We want lots of plants. We want salad. We want veggies. We just don't want to soak them in dressing. And it's easy to take a salad and turn it into again, please don't start counting calories, but turn it into a 1,000-calorie salad just with the dressing. That's easy to do on plan. I've done it many times. And in fact, with one client who was having salads every day, which I loved, the one thing we did that took her out of being stuck was I was checking her food journals and I just said, hey, let's try just 2 tablespoons of dressing on your salads. Let's just see how you do. Mix it with water if you want it to spread farther. That alone made an immense difference for her. The scale started moving. It really can be so difficult for your body to burn through a ton of cheese and nuts and dressing on a salad. So it is something to pay attention to and focus on if possible. Okay. So these Wizzy S guidelines are here to help you, not to help you make you feel restricted. So I want you to be aware that the more veggies you get and the more of these really healthy S fuels you get, the better off you're going to feel. So as we're going through this, I just want you to know if you felt a little taken aback by what the Wizzy S's look like, that's okay. A lot of us did, but they are fabulous. And for those of us who've already been implementing them, they're already working wonders. So it's definitely worth a try. So that's our Wizzy S in a nutshell. I'd love to hear what you think of it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.